Hello, welcome back. Today I'm here to tell you a story about how I became an English teacher. This was not planned at all. I never thought about being a teacher. But now, when I think about my story, I realize that I was always a teacher somehow. So listen to this. I used to work in the past in a shop. So I worked in retail, a general word for a business that sells things. So I worked in a clothes shop, a very expensive boutique in London. When I say very expensive, I'm talking about Prada and Matthew Williams and, very, very expensive designers. So I used to sell, say, a dress that would cost about £1,000, which is a lot of money. And I was not good at that job. So because I was not good at that job, I got sacked, I got fired, which means, Patricia, we're really sorry, but we don't need you anymore. Bye. So yeah, I got sacked. That was the only time I ever got sacked. And I know why. I got sacked because in that type of business, you have got to fight for clients. So if a client came in the shop, there would be a little fight there between the girls, because it was mostly girls working there. Between the girls, like who was going to get that customer? Who was going to make that sale and get lots of commission? That's not me. I'm not good at these things. I am rubbish at these things. Actually, that's why I got sacked. I only worked there for 3 months because I couldn't really sell a lot. I am not good at fighting with people, full stop. But I'm not good at fighting with people for customers, for money. It's just sick. No, it's not me. So I got sacked, and then this was actually 2 days after my 21st birthday. And I thought, great, what am I gonna do now with my life? And this was before I went to university, so I didn't have a degree. I didn't know what to do with my life then. And then I had an idea. I realized that I didn't like having a boss. I didn't like someone telling me what to do and how to do it and forcing me to be someone I'm not. And then I decided that I was not going to live that life anymore because I didn't need to live that life if I didn't want to. And that was when I started thinking about myself and the things that I could do, the things I was good at. And the first thing I thought was English. I realized that native people in England complimented me on my English. To compliment is to say, wow, your English is good. This is to pay a compliment, to compliment someone. So native people complimented me on my English. Native people thought I was a native too. And then I thought, hold on a minute. I could do something with this. And I was always really outspoken in a way that I am good at communicating. And I thought I could make a business out of this. So how was I going to find students? I was not going to work in a school. I don't want to have a boss, remember? So I realized there was a Brazilian magazine, like an actual magazine in London called Leros magazine. And you can advertise services and things on there. To advertise is to promote. So I paid for a very tiny ad on the magazine, like literally the smallest, not the smaller, the smallest, like the number 1 small, the smallest ad you could get on that magazine. And I told my dad, I remember, and my mom too, but I remember telling my dad, saying, hey, I'm going to advertise on Leros for private English lessons. And my dad is like, what? You're not gonna make money with that. And I thought, nah, I will. Yeah, I will. And I didn't make money with that for a long time, but I'll get to that part. And anyway, I advertised and I got my first call and I got my first student coming to my house. At that time, this is when I was 21, this is 8 years ago. She came to my house for a lesson and I planned a lesson. I was not a trained teacher, okay? I was a teacher, just not trained. And I planned her lesson, a conversation lesson, because I never believed in teaching with books and, you know, the traditional method of teaching. I think that's just bullshit. Sorry, that's my opinion. And she came to my house, Nubia. She came to my house and I did a lesson with her for 2 hours. And it was my first lesson ever, first lesson of my life. And she didn't know, obviously, because how could I ever say to someone, they call me and they're like, how long have you been teaching? Oh, actually, I have never. You're my first. Couldn't say that. So, yeah, I didn't tell her, but I told her later. So she came to my house and I gave her a lesson and she said, I really like you. I want to be your student weekly. And that was my first realization that I was good at that. Because if I weren't good, then she wouldn't have wanted to stay with me. It was my first lesson. I had no training. I just knew the language and I really liked talking to people. And I guess I was just really good at explaining things. Anyway, she became my student and her husband was also my student for 8 months. And then they moved back to Brazil. And the last time I saw her, I told her the truth because obviously she became a friend, like most of my students do. If you're my student and you're watching this, you know this is true. And I told her the truth and she gave me a lovely card, which I still have, clearly. And I said, look, you were my first student ever. I will never forget you. And I have never forgotten her. And that's the beginning of my story as a teacher. But the story goes on and on and on. But I'm going to continue telling you the story next week because really this video would be about an hour long. But just stay there, okay? Keep watching this little series about my teaching story because it really is quite awesome. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, click on like, subscribe, leave a comment and all that jazz. And I will see you later in the week. Thank you for watching.